So I was having a normal Monday. Um, I had my lunch and I was just kind of absorbing the afternoon and the weather as well. It's a kick-ass weather outside. Coffee and a book kind of a thing. And I kind of pondered over this thought that I had in my head, and the thought that kind of set a lot of other thoughts in motion eventually. So the idea was that the power of necessity hardly ever overtakes the power of envy, and this is with regards to everybody. This is with regards to everyone in the world, all of us, in present times, in the past, and maybe even the future. Unfortunately, this is with regards to most big corporations, political organizations, religious organizations, media networks, social media. You get the gist of it. So why is this power of envy so strong? Why is this power of envy so capable of um, getting us carried away? Um, Aside from, rather than the power of necessity um, carrying us to wherever we have to go in this life. Well, I think the basic idea is that we are all, as people, I think it's a natural human instinct to be driven to something that seems cool, to be driven to something that seems glamorous, And I use this word quite a bit because it really describes how we are and how we behave and how we handle our relationships and how we handle ourselves and how we immerse ourselves into other personal as well as public activities. So the thing is that there is a certain glamour that exists in dominance and power, and it has existed for the last, I don't know, maybe since the beginning of time, maybe for 1,000 years, maybe to each his own, whatever you might believe, but it does exist everywhere, and it has its own different um, forms, and it has its own different ways and approach um, to kind of captivating people's minds or minds of the masses. And so that's why the power of envy is very um, attractive. It's like when you see somebody that has something that makes them happy, you ultimately translate it as the ultimate happiness because it makes them happy. So it might have the potential to make you happy. But in such cases, in such moments, such instances, we fail to understand that what might make us happy might be very different from what is making another person happy. And that is because we have different backgrounds, we have different roots, we have different weaknesses, we have different strengths. And so that's why this power of envy is kind of very, I guess, infectious, because it is in a way also dominating a certain emotion in your head, because it's a fetish, isn't it? Isn't being jealous of something that somebody else has, something that somebody else is, or some status that somebody else has? Isn't that something that keeps you going? It's a drive that kind of sets things in motion for you. It motivates you, and in that way it is good. But it's terrible because this is how all these big organizations and big companies are capitalizing on our I guess tendency to be envious and our tendency to give in to certain desires and emotions. And so it's very important to understand what is necessary, what do you need, what do you what you can actually call meaningful, what has value for you, what you might have value for. It's very important to understand these things on your own. And I like to think that anything that makes you happy or has made you happy since you were young has the power to help you realize that, has the power to help you focus on these meaningful things, and also distract you from I guess envious forces of nature and envious forces of man-made systems. Social media is another big culprit in most of this, because it conveys a lot of information, but very unclearly, I guess, if that's a word. It's a lot of information. You can see that there's a lot of things, but you can seldom see something in detail. And so it's very easy to misunderstand somebody else's status or somebody else's acquisition or somebody else's power for being very great when it's not. And it's very easy to also influence other people, or I would say misinfluence other people. When you don't have power and you use something to kind of create that notion that maybe, you know, you're somebody that people can look up to, and out of the need to create envy in somebody else's head. So you're also a mini organization or a mini corporation that is feeding off of people's susceptibility to being envious and to being jealous. The idea is to just focus on your inner drive, your inner passion. The idea is to keep going, to understand where you are, where you want to be, and to not pay attention to what other people are saying or doing, because that really is something that can destroy your life. When you base decisions in your life based on other people's decisions or other people's choices, it can really ruin your life, your relationships, and your friendships, and your emotional state of being. So don't be envious. Other people's standards of happiness differ from yours. When other people can acquire happiness might be different from when you might come across happiness. Maybe you will be happy one day, other people will not go through that phase, they will have a different phase. Everybody has their own fate and destiny to take care of them, I guess. I'm not drunk, by the way. I'm high on the climate, I'm high on the afternoon, one day. But it's something to think about, and it's something to also ask yourself. How many times do you look at a post on Instagram and you say, holy shit, that could have been me. Holy shit, I need that. Man, I wish I was there, or, I had that, or something. And then how many times do you look at something and you say, something that's big, and then you say, yeah, this person has some amount of wealth. Maybe he's got a big house, or a great car, or a beautiful wife, or a handsome husband, or whatever. And do I really need that? No. You got to ask yourself that, and you got to answer that question. And that's it. Self-inquiry is important. So envy, is a real agent of destruction.